In today's video, I want to have a heart-to-heart with you regarding the stock market and the Fed pivots. I am here to speak the truth. The media will not, so here I am. Somebody's got to do it. So let's talk about the Fed pivot. The Fed pivot is when the Federal Reserve does a U-turn. That's when they change their monetary policy from a tight one to a loose one. This is so important because history shows after they start cutting interest rates, that's when the stock market starts to shoot up. That's when the bull market begins. At this very moment, the Federal Reserve has a tight policy. That's because they have to. They have no other choice. A tight policy means high interest rates and the money printers are turned off. Without easy money, stocks and cryptos suffer. However, sooner or later, so this is just a fact. It's like the circle of life. The Federal Reserve will have to change their policy from a tight one to a loose one. A loose policy, that means low interest rates and they turn the money printers back on. A tight policy hurts the economy. So there's only so much pain that the economy can withstand. When we reach that breaking point, the Federal Reserve will have to loosen up. There's going to be no other choice. And when that happens, it's going to be great for stocks and for cryptos. So if you just think about it, it's very straightforward. With low interest rates and the money printers on full blast, you know what's going to happen. That's going to cause heavy inflation. If we have inflation, the price of nearly everything is going to go up. And stocks and cryptos, they are not an exception. That's called asset inflation. So in a screwed up way, if you own stocks and cryptos, then asset inflation is a good thing because you're going to make money. So it's like a sick game that we're playing, and we just hope that inflation drives up our assets more than it does our expenses. So is that not the situation? Isn't that how this game is played? So the big question is, when is the Federal Reserve going to start cutting interest rates and when are they going to start printing money again? So when are we going to get an easy monetary policy? So I like to break up the Fed pivot process into 3 stages. That's because it helps you pinpoint where we are in the sequence of events. So stage 1, that's when the Federal Reserve is still raising interest rates, but they're doing so at a slower pace. Stage 2, that's when they stop raising interest rates, they pause. And then stage 3, that's when they start cutting interest rates and printing money. On Wednesday, December 14th, the Federal Reserve has initiated stage 1 of the Fed pivots. They were raising interest rates by 0.75% at each one of their meetings before. On December 14th, they slowed down. They went with 0.5% instead of 0.75. This is significant because we are now one step closer in the sequence of events. So we're getting there. Now the next question is, when do we get out of stage 1 of the Fed pivot and when do we start stage 2? Stage 2 is when they pause. That's when they stop raising interest rates altogether. Okay, so here are the pieces of the puzzle. This is basically like detective work. The Fed funds interest rate is in a range of 4.25% to 4.5%. The Federal Reserve wants to get the interest rate up to 5% to 5.25%. 17 of the 19 FOMC members said that they want to be at 5% at a minimum. The next meetings take place on February 1st, March 22nd, and May 3rd. It is expected that they will get to their target interest rate by March 22nd and stop there. If you think that they're going to stop earlier, then you can say February 1st. If you think that they're going to stop later, then you can say May 3rd. Therefore, one of those 3 dates will be the last time that they raise interest rates in this economic cycle. So in other words, one of those 3 dates will be the start of stage 2 of the Fed pivot, where they stop raising interest rates and they take a pause. Okay, so if that's stage 2 of the Fed pivot, then we would be one step closer to interest rate cuts and the start of the bull markets. But how long will stage 2 last for? So we're trying to get to stage 3 to make some money, right? So here's what we know. Jerome Powell said on December 14th that stage 2 is going to last for all of 2023. He said that the Federal Reserve will not cut interest rates in 2023. So do you believe him? Personally, I do not. Powell said that inflation will be transitory. He messed that one up real bad, and I think, well, this is just my opinion, I think he's getting this one wrong too. But I want to tell you this, I want to emphasize this because I think that this is very important. I hope that you understand that leading up to stage 3 of the Fed pivots, we're going to have high interest rates, we're going to have quantitative tightening, and we're going to have a nasty recession. We're talking bankruptcies, layoffs, stock market's going down, crypto's going down, real estate is hurting, Europe is in a crisis, China's just trying to hold itself together, supply chain disruptions, it's going to be bad. That's all I'm saying. I am not predicting a depression, an economic depression. I believe that that's for the next economic cycle. This time, I think it's going to be a deeper recession than what the media is saying. I'm basically telling you that it's not going to be a soft landing. But Powell is saying that they're not cutting interest rates in 2023, that the US economy can withstand all of this pain, and the US economy will not need any help. To that, I say I am skeptical. I suspect that the Federal Reserve will start cutting interest rates when something gives. You know what's going to give? It's going to be the debt markets. There will be a liquidity crisis because they cannot do aggressive quantitative tightening and rapid interest rate increases without something breaking. That is wishful thinking. The credit market is bigger and more important than the stock market or the crypto market. When the debt market dries up, so when debt dries up, when liquidity dries up, it's going to take down stocks and cryptos with it. I believe that they will cut interest rates in the later months of 2023. When they cut interest rates, that would be the start of stage 3 of the Fed pivots. So here's the significance. So history shows that when they initiate stage 3 of the Fed pivot, the bull market doesn't start right away. Stocks start going up a few months after they begin cutting interest rates. I previously touched upon how the variables are slightly different this time. We have the recession leading up to the rate cuts. So if you want to forecast the timing of the bull run, then maybe you want to adjust for that and pull the time frame a little bit forward because of the recession variable. But we're going to get into it. We'll talk about that later. But don't dwell on that for now, and you're going to understand why in a few minutes. So I'll tell you this. If you look at the big picture and you think about this, this all makes sense because the pieces of the puzzle fit. I made a video about the history of high inflation. It's a very boring video, but it's very informative. You can go watch it if you want. History shows that it normally takes 24 months to get back to normalized inflation. The rate of inflation peaked in June of 2022 at 9.1%. 24 months from peak inflation, that would put us in the middle of 2024 to get back to normal. However, the Federal Reserve did not say that they would cut interest rates when inflation gets down to 2%. They said that they would begin cutting interest rates when they see that inflation is on the trajectory towards 2%. Therefore, that means that they could start cutting interest rates when inflation falls down to the upper 3% range. And that's possible in late 2023. So the pieces of the puzzle all fit and they point to interest rate cuts in the later parts of 2023. But you might say that the markets have already priced this in. I disagree because, I agree that markets are forward-looking, but I don't think that they're forward-looking 10 to 15 months out. The markets are not pricing in. They're not pricing in a lot of things, and I'll give you a few of my thoughts. I don't think that they're pricing in the deepness of the recession, the severity of the decrease in corporate profits, earnings compression that we're going to have coming up, the duration of the pause, or the credit risk. And you can sprinkle in the black swan events, China, Russia, the energy crisis. Who knows what else the world is going to throw at us in 2023. So I'm going to end with this. I am predicting that we're going to get interest rate cuts in late 2023. So a lot of people ask, okay, if that's going to happen, then when is the start of the next bull run? When are stocks going to start going up in a sustainable way? Is it going to be late 2023 or early 2024? My response would be, listen, that's not what's important right now. So if we peg the market as going up at the start of the bull run, if we peg it in that time range, 2023, late 2023 to early 2024, that is good enough for now. So right now, I would say, what is the difference? That's not what's important. What's more important is what happens before then. So getting from here to there in between, we are going down. So that's what we need to focus on right now. Listen, it's very straightforward. You want to buy low and sell high. You want to wait for weakness. You want to wait for fire sale prices, and that time is arriving in 2023. So your job, it's going to be very easy. Your job is going to be to wait. But a lot of people, I said this before, they're going to screw it up because people will get impatient. People are going to have the fear of missing out. They're going to FOMO. Everybody wants action. Everybody wants to get rich quickly. They want to make a trade now. That's not how it works. You have to be patient. The time to buy, the best time to buy, it's arriving soon. At that time, you get your money in, then you just hold for the rest of the bull market, and then you sell at the top. The bull market is probably going to last for 2 years, 3 years, maybe more. I'll be here to guide you. I'll be here to do the analysis work, and it's just going to be rinse and repeat, and just don't make this complicated. For the past 12 months, I've been saying that the markets are going to go down. The markets are going to go down. And guess what? The markets went down. Now I'm telling you that we have some more downside, but the time to buy is coming soon. It's very close. I do not have a crystal ball, but you do not need a crystal ball to time the markets, not after 2008. You just have to look at what the Federal Reserve is doing because they control and manipulate the markets. That is my interpretation of the situation. If you want exclusive content on stocks or cryptos, please check out my Patreon. I'll leave a link down below. Thank you for the support, and I wish you a very nice day.